everybody. I am not Randy Olson. I am Matthew David, one of your hosts for today. Welcome to the ABT Time Podcast, episode number 64. Wow, we've done a few of these. Holy cow. Go us. I am joined here today by my two co-hosts, Dr. Anahita Vieira and Liz Strauss. And us three ABT coaches are going to do something we've never done on the show before. We realized the other day that, the ABT is more than just the three words. Actually, we've realized that for quite some time now. There's this entire process that goes behind like taking and shaping an ABT that is a bit of a black box for those who are not part of the ABT core team or haven't taken the course or haven't taken the mini course. So we wanted to kind of unveil that black box a little bit, let you all get a peek inside by actually taking apart an ABT today. And before we take a look at this ABT, Liz, you want to tell us a little bit about it? What we're going to expect here?
Oh, what we're gonna expect is baby ABT writing from me. I wrote this in 2020. So it's been
Wow.
what, 6 years and a lot of learning since then. Um, at the time, though, for some context for it, at the time I had been working and was working for a dog daycare company that, at the time, as it is relevant to this, at the time covered a good portion of Northern California and Southern California, and was also working as marketing assistant. So I especially was trying doing social media. And one of the things this company offered that I was especially passionate about was individual care for dogs who were not able to socialize in group play. So for whatever reason, they could not be out in the general populace with other dogs, whether it was just that they did not get along with other dogs or they had health concerns, like, maybe some, they could still move around, but had some mobility issues that didn't make it safe for them to be around the young pups who like to body slam into everything.
Aww.
Yeah. Or even if they were, say, still intact, because, obviously, we want you leaving with the same number of pups you came in with.
It's a policy
Yeah.
in general,
Got that from one of my one of my last staff members. But so for whatever reason, these dogs could not go out into group play. But the programs was priced much higher because of what it entailed. So I was particularly passionate about it because I felt like it was so critical, and that it was worth the cost. And I will add that years later, even after I was ABT, I had a dog who partook in that program. So I've stayed passionate about it. Even dogs who can't socialize with other dogs need lovin's too. So, and we wanted to give clients an option that made them feel like, oh, I'm not being judged just because my dog can't go out into play. So,
Oh no, the pup parents being judged too. Oh.
Yeah.
yeah, well, because they
Can't
would,
win when you're a parent.
and
You
what,
just
because they
can't
would.
win.
They would. And it was very easy to be like, oh, I'm being penalized. My dog can't be in group. I have to pay this extra price per day. This is so much. And it's like, no, 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 no. This is about giving you peace of mind that, your old pup or your young pup, whatever their need is, that we can still meet that need and that they still will get lots of love and attention and have a great time. I particularly loved our specialized care guests, because they got one-on-one time with us. And as staff, we loved that. We're like, we get to just be us and the dog. So yeah, so it was a
Nice.
program where they would get 3 play times every day of their stay, that they would just get it directly with a staff member. We'd be 100% focused on them. And then of course they would still get all the other usual bells and whistles that came with the room. They just didn't get the group play form. So
Got it. Got it. So this ABT you wrote was for that program. And how
yep.
how had you taken the class before? Or was this the first time you'd gone through the actual ABT course?
I had audited, I think not the previous one,
Audited,
but like
right?
one of the ones before then, because it was in this was, yeah, this is during the COVID days. So I know I audited at least one course.
Yeah, right.
So, but that was just me sitting quietly and observing.
And during the
Mm.
COVID days and also 2020. So this was ABT was still pretty new for you. Teaching the ABT was still pretty new for Randy and I. A
Hmm.
lot of the bells and whistles we have on the course. We had working circles, I remember, by the
Yeah.
time that you actually participated. We just introduced those, the where one person introduces an ABT, four other participants tear into it and help shape it, but it's all completely peer to peer.
Hmm. can
But we
proudly
had
say
not,
I was number 109 on
you're
working
one
circles.
109. Where are we at now, Liz? We're like in the 800s or
We're
900s or
getting
something.
Oof,
close to we're getting close to
we're
900.
gonna
Yeah,
have to celebrate
that's
a
a lot of
thousand.
working circles to sit
Yeah.
through. Jeez. And the course very, very different back in those days. I remember early days, especially 2020, it was all much more is much more theory and abstract kind of like talk around ABTs and
Mm.
narratives. We did still have the in-class ABT builds where Randy would like work on an ABT one with all the one on one with all the students, and we'd also have the working circles. But since then, the class has like developed a lot where we're trying to put more and more on the students to keep them busy to get their hands dirty as soon as possible.
That's where the
Anahita,
magic happens.
exactly,
Exactly.
exactly. So, Anahita, the ABT we're about to read today, Liz's ABT. How many hours have we already put into it? Like looking at it, researching it, thinking about it, like trying to deconstruct it. Like how many like days or hours have you put into it so far?
This particular ABT
This
or
particular
like,
ABT, yeah.
oh, like you just gave us the link before you started the live stream, so
That's
I barely
right.
read it.
I mean, I just dug it out of my emails
Which
what
I'm glad
yesterday.
because
So
we're trying to make this like honest and showing what's inside the black box. We are not, this is not staged, folks.
Exactly, exactly.
Exactly.
I glanced at it like 5 minutes before we started recording, and that's about it.
well,
Yep.
I
Uh,
called it baby ABT because even I
Yeah.
looked at it yesterday and went, "Oh my gosh, there's so."
Who was this Liz Strauss? How
I
dare
mean,
she
when
write an
my, I
ABT
mean,
this
like I
way?
said, I was working circle 109. But mind you, we didn't have a scribe doc then. There was no,
Yeah,
okay,
things
we're
have
Oh,
gonna start
changed.
and do like the problem in 5 words. I don't even remember. I can't remember. I think I remember maybe one person, maybe, or I'm just imposing somebody from our ABT group into that. I
right.
don't remember who's
There,
in my
yeah,
working circle.
two big things we didn't have back then. We didn't have the scribe doc, which is this kind of template doc that people can follow along through the working circle in order
Yeah.
to like kind of match all the tools with all the steps of where you're at. We had, I believe, back then the ABT blue card, but
Mm.
the scribe document was much more concrete. Like here's the tool you should be using at this time. No
Yeah,
ifs, ands, or buts about it. Or
yeah. The
actually,
blue
get
card
lots
is
of
more
ifs, ands, and buts
reference.
about it. Come to think of it.
I was gonna say, yeah, the
Uh,
blue card was more reference. So from this, I remember with this, when I came away after the working circle, it was like, okay, that's good feedback, but I'd already also had my build with Randy. And since I wasn't physically using this, except kind of honing my ABT skills, I wasn't going on to write a paper or anything. There
Mm.
wasn't a whole lot of further application with that. Whereas now students do the working circles, and at a bare minimum, you come away from a working circle with a whole worksheet basically of
Yeah.
information and
mm,
brainstorming and groupthink and that's
Yes.
the scribe docking brings them away. So every student who hosts a working circle comes away with this basically this resource document
Yeah.
of people just focused on what it is they're doing.
yeah.
Gold.
And the other thing we didn't have back in those days is structuralists,
That's right.
which I think were a very, very necessary addition. Anahita, you've been a structuralist a few times, right?
Yeah, a few times. I think it was with the Perry Institute of Marine Sciences group.
Right. It was with
Yeah.
PIMS,
Yep.
Greg
Yeah.
Dahlgren's group. Right.
That's right.
Speak a little bit about that. How was that experience?
It was, I don't know, it was interesting because, as I said, the magic is in watching it happen. So it was just fun to be there to provide support if anything needed to be clarified, but otherwise stay out of the way and watch the magic happen. And I think that's like a very special position to be in because as with all of these peer-based things, like you learn by watching, and that's like a particular vantage point. So it was fun to see when different peers would start to kind of get certain things after a few sessions and start advising each other, or there would be times where I would want to give advice, but I was glad that I didn't because they were helping each other themselves. And so that's always, it's just fun to see learning in action in that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the best role of the structuralist, the person who's like really sitting at the sidelines. I like to say that the structuralist is more the referee of
Yeah.
the working circle than anything
I
else.
call us the hall monitors.
The hall monitors of the working. Yeah, I gotta get you a hall monitor sash one of these
Yep.
days
We're
to where
there to
you're at.
basically, get from point A to point whatever that point is. And
To whatever
okay,
point.
if you're going like this, but you still get there by the bell, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
Right.
And by the way, no running in the halls.
Right. Exactly. Don't skip the problem statement.
And now here you referenced another really fun working circle dynamic. It's those we typically run working circles over like 3 or 4 weeks. Um, and people are joining in on multiple sessions. Those first few sessions, oh boy, are they rough.
Yeah.
Everyone's scared and intimidated, like, are we doing these tools right? And by the third
Exactly.
week, it's
Yeah.
like a race to the finish. Like they've got the feedback, they know the questions they should be asking, their
Yeah.
brains are like on it. So
Shout
it's
Yeah.
out though to I think our last round of Emory working circles, where the
yes.
first week I remember Matthew, I remember being like, this group has got it.
Nice.
Because I think we had one group get to like stage 3 of the scribe document or something, and I was like, I've
Whoa.
never seen this, and it's happening in like the first few weeks. This is insane.
Yeah, that's
That's
like
cool.
getting to stage 3 is like that's week 3. That week 3 or week 4 are people able
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
Not week 1.
So,
Okay,
so
kudos
shout
to
out that
Emory.
that group of Emory, that last group of Emory students we had, because they were getting it, and I will say, Matthew, I think it was some of the changes that was made with adding iterations, so there was more.
Right, right, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. That's what Liz is referring to. We're always working on improving the course. We're always trying to figure out what to do better, what to help students with. And we took this big lesson from the mini course where people are rewriting their ABTs, 5 drafts over the course of 5 days, getting notes and feedback like for every draft. And the big like iteration has been key for that course. Like we don't have time to do a lot of theory, a lot of lecture. So instead, they learn by doing and learn by doing and learn by doing and learn by doing and learn by
The
doing.
best way.
Exactly. So we've taken that kind of model and implemented it back into our full course. And oh boy, yeah, just doing that in one semester, we've already seen like it's been incredible. Like the ABTs that are getting to the end of the semester, they're crossing the finish line, are so much more polished
Hmm.
now that we've started incorporating that.
It's almost
Okay.
like doing the actual training strengthens your capacity to access those skills. Almost.
Yeah, like
Buddy.
how do you build stamina? By working on.
Yeah.
By working out.
You want to
Yeah.
become a distance runner? Guess what you have to do? Run.
Yeah. Got to do your agilities.
All right. Well, enough jawbone in here. Let's dive in
Do
to the
it.
actual ABT itself.
Okay. Okay.
And so
I
for those of you who are listening, we have the ABT up on the screen, the Liz's ABT. We'll have it in the episode podcast episode description if you want to like keep your eye on it, read it yourself. But Liz, let's just start the traditional way. Go ahead and have us read your ABT.
Alrighty, so here's my ABT. Despite their age, senior dogs require care, comfort, and stimulation to help ensure their continued health. But when boarding away from their families, the experience can often be isolating and stressful. In response, WH provides private rooms with bedding, activities, and around the clock care to ensure that even senior dogs are happy and healthy throughout their stays.
Aw.
And I will
Wonderful.
add that for our audience sake, we're using WH because since I do no longer work for that company, bless everybody there, I love them all. But for the sake of, product, we are just referring to them as WH.
Cool. So the process we're about to do, this is basically during the ABT mini course, this is what our Tuesday morning looks like. We go through all 12 people's ABTs very intensely, pick them apart, and try to figure out what notes will be required to get them to the next step without doing all of their homework for them. It's this
Mhm.
this kind of nasty little line that we have to balance on.
Mhm.
So let's dive in here. Well, Liz, it's rare that we actually have the person with us whose ABT we're
True.
working on
I
during
would say
these.
usually Tuesday notes are without the person. So I was about to say, if
Yeah.
y'all want
This
to
is
do a
gonna be a
little.
We
little
actually get to
different.
ask you questions. This is amazing.
So,
But first off, do you notice anything with the blue that might be a little bit off
despite their
here?
age. What? Like I
Oh,
have
thank God.
problem material in the blue?
You know what? I will say, yeah, it's these are short sections. At least it's not super, super long. It was easy to spot the issue.
100%.
This is what when I read it yesterday and we were in our meeting and I went, "Oh, that was the first thing
I
I
figured.
saw."
Yep. Amazing. It's a popular way to start for a lot of people because it's
It
like
is.
they're already starting to think forward to the fact that they know that they're going to have to introduce a problem. So it's
Mhm.
almost kind of like showing that like I know we're going to get to the point that I'm going to have to argue. But anyways, go on, Matthew. Work the magic.
No, we're working the magic together.
That's true.
Team,
True.
team effort, team effort.
Throwing the ball
Uh,
around.
so let's just take this, pump you down here. So often we just try to we try to fix the ABT as much as we can in a general sense, and then give notes based on that. When we don't have the person here, we're always going to be kind of guessing at certain things, and there's a lot of blanks that we'll have that it'll be up to the student to fill in. But we're kind of here just to make sure we get the basic structure down. Can we make sure the logic of this narrative is sound so that it is a clear setup, problem, solution dynamic? Well, first off, let's just boink you
Yoink.
right out there. Get rid of that despite their age. Senior dogs require care, comfort, and stimulation to help ensure their continued health. This is almost like a perfect we notice, like right off the bat.
It is.
This is great.
Yes.
So for those playing at home, a we notice based off of the character Dr. We Notice from Saturday Night Live. A we notice is a statement of fact that has a lot of supporting evidence behind it, typically that we know to be true. So senior dogs require care, comfort, and stimulation to help ensure their continued health. That sounds like something that we know to be true, that is completely true
bombing our
and
meeting?
verified. Oh no, ladies and gentlemen, bobbing
The
in
star
from
of the
out
show.
of nowhere.
Podcast
You're-
bombing.
uh,
Podcast
You're muted,
bombing.
Randy.
Podcast going to pieces. Randy, you're muted.
Mutiny.
Did I just ruin your podcast recording?
Well, we're right in the middle of it.
We're
but,
live streaming,
hey,
so welcome.
everyone, we have a special guest here who's
Oh, Jesus. Oh.
That's all right. They were
I-
picking apart my old ABT from when I did the course in 2020, Randy.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I have something to share with you, but it's top secret. So,
Don't share it on the live stream.
I would not
yeah,
share
no,
it.
if only I'd known. How embarrassing. However, it does involve a Christmas tree for a certain group that we have worked with. That's as much as I can give you as a teaser.
Oh.
When the time comes, let's
Okay.
reunite and I'll share it with you because it's really fun and interesting. But that's probably terrible to tell everybody. But oops.
Can't wait to
Tune
hear
in.
details.
We just build some suspense.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
This is
Yeah.
a great arouse and fulfill dynamic for the audience, Randy. Now they're aroused, like, ooh, what could we be talking about? Find
Yeah.
out in a later episode, everyone.
This is
Yeah.
also kind of truly a look into the black box because sometimes we're in the middle of tearing apart an ABT and Randy's like, I got something to say. And we have to listen because the master. Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what I
What you
could
can say, right?
Yeah, I can say about it. But no, probably better off just forget I was ever here. Have a nice day.
Bye.
I'm keeping
We'll
this
see
in
you
the podcast.
soon.
Bye.
I'm not cutting this part.
Bye, everybody.
That was amazing. We
That's
literally couldn't have
perfect.
planned
We
that.
could
Oh my
not
gosh.
have planned that.
Everyone, you're getting the true
Wow.
behind the scenes behind
This
the
really
scenes feel
is our behind
of
the
the
scenes.
ABT Institute.
Oh my gosh.
Welcome to a peek into our lives.
Anyways,
It's
back
too
to the
perfect.
ABT.
Back to the
It is.
ABT. Perfect example of a we notice. So let's just go to first principles just for our benefit and the audience's benefit, and especially since we have you here, Liz. What's the
Woohoo.
problem? Complete the sentence. What is the problem in 5 words or less? The problem is.
Hmm.
And this one, it's funny. Even now, I'm looking at this going, what was my problem here?
Uh-huh.
First off, I would think offhand, I'd say boarding is stressful.
Yep.
That's a good one. Clear.
Yeah, I can see the reverse of that, making a nice dream, and that's kind of
Yeah.
what your blue is already kind of pointing
Yeah.
toward. That's good.
Does that
Taking
mean
a
you
step
get to
further,
play?
Yeah,
Uh,
go ahead.
Keep going, Liz.
I was going to say, taking a step further, stress impacts health
Mm.
or stress
Oh.
affects health.
Uh, yeah, because if Liz wasn't here, like the person who wrote the ABT were not here,
I was going to say, I want to hear what you all think if I wasn't
then
here.
we would be thinking, first we would say what we really liked about the ABT. So I like that it's very clear, has short
Yeah.
sections. It was easy enough to figure out what was trying to be said. And then we would go through the exercise. So like, what do we think the problem is based on what we're seeing?
Yeah, what do we think the problem is? This is a good place to start. Also, I noticed when we don't have the person here, we often go to a CBT almost like right away to
Yeah,
make sure
we
we can
do.
get like the core story structure down. So
Yeah.
CABT, that is the conversational ABT. That is where we take the ABT, subtract out all the information, all the specifics, anything that could give us a hint as to what the topic is, and just get down to the core story structure, just so we can look at the story and make sure that it just makes sense at the bare bones level.
The more generic, the better.
The more generic, the better. The more it sounds like you're talking to a 5-year-old, the better. So in that spirit, so your blue, I think, is pretty much there's an important thing. Oh, interesting. Yeah, there's like a mismatch going on.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I'm getting that too. This is so funny because I would not have got it then, but I'm looking at this now going, oh my gosh, there are mismatches. I'm mixing my audiences up here.
Yeah. So we got two narratives. So here's the narrative where I think your blue is going. There's an important thing, but probably it's at risk of not happening. Therefore, we make sure it happens, or something like that.
I think so. That's getting, yeah.
I
At
think
the
that
very
might be
least,
the.
that's close.
I
Yeah.
think that might be the story your original blue is going toward. There's an important thing, but it's at risk of not happening. Therefore, we're here to make sure it happens.
Yeah, no, agreed. That's why I was. And this is why the despite was kind of like a clue into like.
Right. Yeah, that original, despite the age thing. Oh, and maybe the age. Interesting. I wonder.
Because it's
when
almost
we introduced the age thing.
When I first read the first version, despite their age, senior dogs require care. It's like when you say despite, and I know we're taking it out here for the reconstruction, which we should, but that immediately made me think, okay, this person is now anticipating what the pushback would be on the cell. The cell is senior dogs need this thing. The argument would be, but they're old, right? It's like the despite is kind of saying, yeah, but even they need care. They still need all of these other things. And here's, so if you transform that into a Wenowdis, which you did there, senior dogs require care. We don't even like argue about it. We just say this is fact. Like we know that they need this. But it's at risk of not happening. Yeah, your conversational ABT is exactly got the framing correctly. That's fine.
Right. And the but seems to be kind of a different. What would the cABT, if we branched out from the but, be? But when boarding from their families, the experience can be isolating and stressful.
Yeah,
I don't even.
it doesn't even seem match. Are we allowed to ask Liz what
you are? I've got a thought forming here. Here, maybe this will help.
But Matt, yeah, go ahead.
Good. This is what they require, and this is where I think you're getting at it. Something with it. It's at risk of not happening, because I think the but I was getting at was that was from a mindset of what boarding exists for senior dogs. Does it exist, or is it the same as all other dogs? I think that was the mindset I was in, is there another boarding situation for senior dogs that does this amount, that accounts for what they need, what's missing, or is it,
So then would it be, but current boarding facilities do not provide the care, comfort, and stimulation they need? Is this lacking, or is it, I don't know.
Yeah. I would say, but it can be lacking across facilities. I mean, it was, and I don't want to speak for other boarding companies necessarily out there, because they take their jobs very seriously, but it is a much more difficult thing to accommodate when you have outside of like veterinary boarding. And even then, that's really specific to your dog has a specific medical need that they're here for, and it happens to include them boarding. And a lot of vets don't offer boarding anymore because it's too much a task. It's too tasking to basically just offer boarding.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's not this is where I think I have multiple audiences going on, because I think there's a logistical audience where it's internally why we're doing this. There's a client audience. And then in some ways, there's also the pets.
Interesting.
So I've got three, I feel like I've got possibly three narratives going on here.
Well, I mean, the burden of being the expert, right?
The burden of having done the work now and going back and going, oh, and I thought I was okay.
I mean, it's just that's why this is so much fun, and it's humbling, because we are going to probably watch this episode or another early on episode like 10 years from now and be like, what were we thinking?
Right? How are we so bad at this?
We're going to look at that and be like, We're gonna be like, of course you fix it by doing this, 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 and it's done. But you
It's
missed
almost,
this giant thing over here.
yeah. I see Matthew's wheels turning, I
I
think.
know,
They
yeah.
are. I'm still trying to pull apart the other two or three narratives because I'm kind of
Mm,
curious as to what they are. So there's an important thing, which is special care for senior dogs, but it's a risk of not happening. Therefore, we're here to make sure it happens. The other narrative, let's see, the experience can be, they kind of match up. Yeah, we have a problem here that's not being reflected quite the right way in the blue.
I'm
Oh,
gonna
here we
try
go.
cABT
There,
under
who
here.
who's anonymous Kiwi?
That would be
Might,
Anahita.
Okay,
might be me.
Anahita,
I don't
excellent.
know.
Great.
Yeah. There's a thing.
There's a thing we know is important to do. I think this is what I was trying to figure out. Yeah, but we're not doing it. Therefore, or
But we don't have it? Or no. Yeah. It was a good start.
another tweak for mind.
Yeah.
We know a group needs special
Mm,
things, but
okay.
they might not be getting those special things.
Okay.
Therefore, we'll be sure that they get them.
Yes.
Something like that.
Oops, I'm sorry. Yeah, I always forget. It's good to see the different levels of cABT because that's a little bit more specific, but
A
it's
little
still
bit.
so generic that you
Mhm.
wouldn't know what it applies to. It could be any group, it could be any special thing, right? It's more
Yeah.
about, yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, and when we get down to this like really generic level, like these cABTs, like this sort of pattern, this sort of problem, this sort of narrative, what at this simple level occurs in like every organization and every company and every NGO like across the planet. Like everyone understands this. They might not
Yeah.
understand the specifics of what you do, but they can at least click with like this level.
Yeah.
I think you're getting at something here with this too, Matthew. I'm thinking too in terms of, okay, if the other problem here is I've been thinking to two audiences is there's the part of me that's now, okay, now go on the business side of this.
Mm.
Okay, there's a group that needs there's a group that needs special things, but they're difficult to do.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore,
Oh,
we're going to do them, which
that's,
is have a
yeah.
program that meets those needs. Create a program that meets those needs.
And
Which
I imagine that depends on which audience you were going to be talking to.
yeah, and I feel like that's an internal speaking one. That's one that's
Yeah.
speaking to, therefore, and in the case with my previous employer, it would be more of a success story. There's a group that had a special need, but it was difficult to do, so we created a program to do it.
Yeah.
I think I finally picked apart the second ABT. Oh man, now just talking about it dropped out of my head.
Oh no.
Oh,
Let
I
me.
love when that
I
happens.
love when that happens. I think it's. I had the but pretty clear, but for this one group, or no, but this one group has uh, more special or has special needs. Let's just start there.
Mm,
Yeah.
So there's there. That's what it was.
yeah.
There's an experience we want to provide to our clients,
Beautiful.
but this one group has special needs. Therefore, we will provide those special needs. Yeah, this is, I think, kind of the other narrative we were going to. So this starts out even more generic. Like we're not even probably talking about like senior dogs in this point. This is the ideal experience that we want from our clients, but there's this one group that has special needs. For them, the experience can be isolating and stressful. Therefore, here's what we're going to do about it.
And what you're hitting on here is the scalability of kind of the way it's going. Because I could tell you right now that narrative, I could change it for senior dogs. I could change it for intact males. I could change it for dog aggressive dogs or dogs with mobility, like the trick, the interesting thing here is that I could change it out for for like specifics within the program of who we accommodated, and it still matches.
It's still
because it's
the
at the end of
same.
the day, it's
Yeah.
this group has a special need,
Yes.
therefore we're filling it. Mm.
There we
Yeah.
go. So the
Mhm.
problem, so this paints a kind of an ordinary world of here's the dream experience, here's what we want for all of our clients, but for older dogs, this doesn't happen because such and such and such.
Yeah.
So here's the question: do we want to start with uh, the more generic experience of what we want to provide, or do we want to start with talking about older dogs from the get go? Any thoughts?
Mm.
Well, I want to pause because I understand why you're asking that question, but to zoom us out for a second,
Sure.
since we're like unveiling the black box a little
Mhm,
bit,
mhm.
at this point, we would also be thinking about what feedback we want to give others without giving
Right.
them too much, right? So we're kind of doing this like, okay, now how do we fix it? And we're just kind of
Mhm.
like,
And I'm right
there's
here. You're not
general, yeah,
sending me
yeah,
an
you're
email
right
after
there.
the
There's
fact.
there's general
So
to specific. There was multiple narratives. So I'm totally down to go down that road, but I just wanted to like reground us in, oh, are we
and
wanting to yeah.
yeah, exactly. So for the students at this point, we would probably already be like, okay, we think we've cracked the first nut, and we need an answer on this. We
Yeah.
need an answer as to which narrative we want to be telling. Do we want to be telling the whole story, or do we want to be like zooming into the individual dogs, the
Yeah.
individual group that needs special needs? Also, and Liz, you were kind of bringing this up earlier. Who's the audience for this?
Hmm.
That's also going to determine some of this narrative. Is this like a logistical type narrative where we need to be like facing like an ABT that faces more toward the team, toward the company to get everyone on the same page? Or is this something that like wants to, that we want to aim more at the general audience, like potential like uh, dog parent clients kind of
Yeah,
thing?
exactly. Yeah. So for me, when I was writing this, I would say my intent was aimed at clients because
Mm,
that was the key thing. And now in training, if it depends, because later on I was in a position where I was doing a lot more training where I was trying to bring people up to speed on here's our narrative as a company, but here's where our narrative intersects with the client's narrative, not to get us too far ahead, but our Dobzhansky being care. So, being at the heart of everything we do, we care, the client cares, and we also care. We both meet in there. But I
Mm.
think at the end of the day, what I was really advocated for was this program, don't let the sticker shock fool you. And because
mm,
that was where I took
right.
away Shirley's law that we love to quote, which is, and I would actually use this with my staff years later when I was training them. I'd be like, you have to tell your own story or else someone else is going to tell it for you and you probably won't like it. And I would sometimes quiz staff, like new staff. I'd be like, if I just hand you this pamphlet on this program, what's your immediate takeaway? And some would be, especially because they already were coming from pet care world, so
Mm.
might actually recognize a little bit more. But then there'd also be the, wow, this is expensive. And I'd be like,
Mm.
okay, imagine most clients walking through the door. That's the first thing they see.
Yeah.
Because the
Mm,
program could cost as much as $50 a day. And that was just for this program.
Hmm.
That didn't include your boarding fees or anything else in there. So it could double the cost of a stay.
Hmm.
So my thing to people is I'm like, to, we have to tell them, we have to get them to understand that this program fills a need,
Hmm.
that this need that they have deep down, which is the best care possible for their pet, because then they understand why we're pricing it where we are.
Yeah, because no one
Then the
buys the
price is
right.
solution without a
acceptable.
problem.
Exactly. So, and that's really the trick is people would see the price. They were seeing the therefore first and not sold already on the problem yet. Because they're looking
Mm,
at the therefore going, oh, you're just charging me to take my dog on a couple walks, whatever.
Right.
And it's like, no, 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 no. Here's everything you're getting with this.
Yeah.
And when they got that, then you could say, look, it's going to cost this much because that's what it takes to accommodate all of this. And they go, okay, we know, we understand, we understand. So that is all to say that my audience really was the client of getting them to understand why this program was so critical. Because
right.
I understood, but I worked it every day.
All right. Looking at your ABT, I'm trying to figure out how we start the thing. I'm still like, what level do we start off? Do we start off
Yeah.
with the specific, like let's talk about this particular group, or do we start talk about the dog hotel experience in general? I'm looking for your through your ABT for clues. What patterns keep showing up all throughout,
Hmm.
and the opposite of those patterns?
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
seems to be all about like making sure they have a healthy stay, right? The happy
Yeah.
and healthy stay, like at the broadest level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I would say I would boil it. I didn't use the word in here at all, but I would boil it down to saying care.
Care.
They
Care.
all need care.
It's care. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Matthew, my instinct would be to start it more generic, like general,
Yeah.
and then mention senior dogs, because the we notice would be
Yeah.
We know all dogs.
all dogs require care, comfort, and stimulation to help ensure their continued health. And I'm
And
not
that
saying
separates
this
the special needs too, because it's a group that needs care, but they also have special needs to accommodate.
exactly, but not all dogs need the same type of care. You know, don't get that need fulfilled the same way.
Yeah.
We know,
young
we
Fido
know.
may have been able to run out into the group and play and get all the activity and stimulation he needed, but now Fido's older and arthritis is set in. So, again, running around in a group with rambunctious puppies that body slam everything for fun might not be ideal.
Maybe not.
And anybody who's worked in dog daycare, yes, I'm mostly talking about pity puppies and boxer puppies, because I swear those two and labs. Okay, those three body slam. They'll just be like, "I love you."
We know that dogs require, actually, not even know we know that dogs require. We know that I want to get the hotel. What's the term that I'm looking for? Acting boarding. That's the okay. We know that good boarding.
Mm-hmm. You got it.
That's probably more. Yeah, we know that good boarding for dogs. We know that a good boarding
Experience.
a
Yeah.
good boarding. We're back to experience again. We know that a good boarding experience is essential for dogs. For dogs to feel care, comfort, and stimulation. Or just to help ensure their continued health.
I was going to say, I think care, comfort, stimulation is getting too specific too soon.
Too specific. So just to help ensure their continued health. Okay.
Because we weren't doing if thens in the end material when I wrote this, so now I'm like,
how much has changed? and I see what you're saying. Now we can do the if then,
because now we can expand on the dream, which is, again, this is all the more, I mean, in client facing, this is what you want to do. This is the car salesman going, picture yourself in this vehicle.
Exactly.
They're
Thinking past
painting the
sale.
dream.
Right. If this experience can be provided for, and if this experience can be provided, I think that's really all we need.
Yep.
Nice and simple.
Yeah.
We like a nice and simple if. Often we see ifs that get like already too much into the method already, and we always try to like back it up. Like the pattern for narrative is general to specific. Let's keep it nice and simple at the beginning. Plenty of room for details later on.
Yeah.
Then if this experience can be provided, is this where you're thinking about the care, comfort, and stimulation, Liz, right here?
I think if I was going to keep that in, I think that's where that would go.
If this, then they will, how to feel for this.
They will receive care, care, comfort, and stimulation they deserve. I don't know if that's taking it too far, but
the needed care, comfort, and stimulation to thrive.
There we go.
Beautiful.
Care, comfort, and stimulation to thrive. Excellent.
While boarding, if I want to kind of circle that a little bit of while boarding.
I think that's already implied.
Yeah, it's kind of implied. It's kind of depends on what I was like in certain marketing material. You might have to say it, but I think no, I agree though. I'm kind of like, do I need that? Do I not?
This is the way we do it.
Right.
Because our goal really, we want them to thrive while they're boarding with us.
But this isn't. Let's see.
I have a new but problem statement.
Go for
what is it? What is it?
Good boarding experience. Oh, it's more than 5 words. I just wanted to say is not one size fits all.
And we could just go down to experience is not one
Okay.
size fits all. Oh, the one size fits all conundrum. Yes.
Yes.
But
Because that's what you're getting at. What you're getting at is we're
that's
basically
great.
saying our basic
Yeah.
program
Yeah.
can't necessarily meet the needs of the special group. That's literally
Yeah.
what you're pointing
Yay!
to.
I'm
Yeah.
glad. Yeah.
It's so funny because
Oh,
you're literally pointing to like the
because
reason why we also at the time would have like a huge menu with all these
Yes.
add-ons because I tell clients, and all these different room options and suite options because I tell clients I'm like it's about creating meeting the need for your specific pet. And
A
some pets
tailored
don't
care
care.
experience.
Exactly. Because I tell them, I'm like, yeah, some of you come in and between budget and what you know your dog is comfortable with, you're not worried if they're just in a standard room. That's
Yeah.
okay. They've got a
Yeah.
bed, they've got water, they're going to be
Right.
out and all day play, they're going to be having a great old time. But some of them, your dog is used to in the evening, like your dog likes to sit on the couch with you while you watch TV and you always watch your whatever show at night. And so you want something that feels more like home to them
This
because
is
maybe being outside of
truly
home is really scary.
this truly above and beyond care. And any pet owner who cares enough about signing up their dog for a boarding experience, like that would not bat an eye at how, I mean, assuming they could afford it more or less, like would not bat an eye at like why that would
People
be
would get
important.
like I would get two reactions, especially when I'd show them like our top end like suites and everything. And I kind of would get two reactions, either the whoa, this is nicer than my place, the sort of tongue-in-cheek response of this is way more than I would ever put in. But
Yeah.
those people, largely for those folks, they didn't need that. They're like,
Yeah.
no, I know what my then they were comfortable with it and their dogs were comfortable and their dogs
Yeah.
thrived.
And
And
that's
then there
what
was the other
matters,
portion who
right?
saw that and went, absolutely, this is what
Hmm.
my dog needs. And their dogs would thrive in the suites.
Yeah.
By the way, the suites got a special perk. The highest end suite that we offered, it got a bedtime story.
Oh
oh
my
my God.
gosh.
Oh
Sign
my
me up.
God.
Call it maybe the favorite staff activity because we did
Oh
actually
my
have
goodness.
storybooks, but it also could consist of, depending on the guest, of just let me sit with you for 20 minutes to wind down your evening and snuggle you. And I would
It's
go
like a
in and
whole
put on
other world that I didn't even know. Oh my
those suites
God.
had Netflix options, okay? So I would go in at bedtime story in those suites, put on Great British Bake Off because one, there's a lot of it. Two, it's entirely wholesome and non-stressful. And I would put that on and just snuggle with the pup for 20 minutes.
That's adorable. I added
Yeah.
another problem statement here, and I know we don't have time for it, but
We're getting so
we're
distracted.
gonna have to stop and either do a follow-up episode or, like whatever. But I was rereading this and thinking, but boarding is not one size fits all. I'm only just making it more specific that its boarding needs are not the same for all dogs. It's just a
Yes.
matter of emphasis, right? Anyway,
Right, right. So
yeah.
here's what I've kind of landed on so far. We know that we know that a good boarding experience is essential for dogs to help ensure their continued health. And if this experience can be provided, then they will receive the needed care, comfort, and stimulation to thrive. But boarding is not one size fits all because senior dogs need fill in the blanks, all their special needs, blah, 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 blah. Therefore, WH provides these needs by providing private rooms with bedding activities, around the clock care to ensure that even senior dogs are happy, healthy throughout their
Mhm.
stays.
Yeah.
There
I would
we
Yeah.
say my
go.
adjustment here would be providing a specialized care program
Yeah,
because
I
that would
mean,
be
Ooh,
because that's actually what I would say is
providing
it's funny
and
because I'm looking at my original ABT and I said provide private rooms, bedding activities, and I'm looking at this going, okay, that's our general offering. Was like I'm looking at this now going, I didn't mention specialized care in this. So was I just offering that you could bring your senior dog into boarding?
mm,
Because nowadays I look at that and go, it would be we have a specialized care program, but it didn't necessarily apply to all senior dogs because it just depended on what the dog's need was. So I kind of see both sides of it. But I think also what we're hitting at is I could scale this depending on what it is. If I'm wanting to just sell this to kind of anybody and it's just, hey, your older dog can board with us and we've got options versus, oh, your older dog can't go into group play. That's okay. We have options.
yeah.
So really we're hitting at the
so
ability to expand and contract it depending on who the client is.
all right, so Liz, so interesting thing. We hit on one size fits all. We're hitting on this idea of customizing.
Yes.
Yes.
That seems to be, and this is starting to feel like because we actually have the person here. This is starting to feel like two or 3 different note sessions combined. So you're seeing like the
Yes.
fast forwarded, you're seeing the fast forwarded what it looks like over the course of the mini course, but just in one session.
Yes.
What I'm seeing here is that maybe so we're paying off one size fits all. This might be something that needs to be planted earlier.
I was going to
This
say,
might
I'm
be
bringing in tailored experiences, bringing that to the forefront. I was thinking that too.
Yeah.
And this is how we all know we've done this, because I was thinking the same thing right before you
Same
said
thing.
it.
Beautiful.
We know that a tailored experience.
A tailored
What
boarding
if we,
experience?
what
A
if that
tailored boarding
tailoring, what if
experience.
tailoring the boarding experience is part of the if then? Because we say
I-
a positive boarding experience, and if we can tailor, then we can further meet those individual needs.
That's a good question, actually. That's
Yeah.
worth thinking about for a moment.
I'm gonna do the opposite of what Randy did, which is I'm gonna need to hop off.
Oh, no problem. You have what, 5 minutes to go?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I think it could go either way. We know that a tailored boarding experience is essential for dogs to help ensure their continued health. And if this tailored experience can be provided, I kind of like introducing it early just to get people thinking about the tailored experience earlier. And we could like further customize it based on that. We know that a tailored boarding experience is essential for meeting certain special needs. And if this experience can be provided, then all dogs will receive needed care. But this doesn't always happen because some hotel providers neglect senior dogs who require blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, or some care needs are beyond the scope of care for hotel. This is
right.
Sorry, this is me on the diplomatic like company end of not accusing anybody of anything. But it is because it is again, it goes back to care being the central thing. And what is scope of care? Scope of care is a difficult thing.
This is so cool because I'm sorry, I'm gonna pretend we're not recording for a minute and be like really with you two for a second, because essentially what we just did was we got really clear on the problem.
Yeah.
Boarding is not one size fits all. And then you were like, what the value you're really proposing here is a tailored solution. So let's actually change the Wenowdis and the setup to we know that a tailored solution is the most ideal dream scenario for boarding experiences for dogs, right? And then the problem changed completely from we don't have the right, one size fits all to, but it's not happening. For whatever reason you want to add to it.
Yeah, it's not happening because other people might not be able to just provide that.
Yeah, and because that's really, it comes down to, from a business standpoint, it's like you've got your other place. Are you going to get the same thing there? They probably mean really well, but if they can't accommodate that care, then you're not going to get that care need met.
Yeah.
But if you come here, you can meet that care need.
And this differentiates you from the competitors who are not providing that care. That could be like central to the because other providers don't tailor to these poor dogs that have these special needs. Therefore, we're the ones that are doing that.
Yeah.
This has been great, everyone.
Yeah, this is fun.
This has been a great also peek inside the black box of how this process goes. As you can see, it's kind of messy. It's a journey. We are discovering things along the way. This was the equivalent of like 2 or 3 different iterations. This is probably about where we would get an ABT by like Wednesday or Thursday.
I was gonna say we're about on the edge of like a Thursday almost.
Yeah, exactly.
It's because Liz got to wear 2 hats today.
Exactly.
And because I've done so many before. I mean, well, like I said, part of my brain went, oh, if only I'd had this then. Except that if I'd had this back then, I would have had to have it's taken all the work in the last 2 years of sitting through iteration after iteration after iteration, listening. And that's why we're so emphatic about the iterative process, that the only way you get better at this is to practice it. And I have watched and I have practiced through working with, you all and working on other people's ABTs and seeing them work on their ABTs. That's why I can get to this point. Because I can guarantee you 2 years ago, I would have looked at this and still been like,
Matthew and Liz, why is it this much fun though? Every time.
Why is it every single time?
Because I'm over here like, wow, look at what we just did to the problem.
Oh no, we get to play games all day. We get to discover new things all day.
Because we like puzzle solving.
It's true.
I
It's
think we just
true.
really value the process of the learning and the iterating, but not to
Yeah.
take away from your
Way to
beautiful
full
wrap up.
circle it, Anahita. Now
Okay.
we're back to, and that's what this is all about, valuing
Yeah.
the process. This is what
Yeah.
it's all about, learning to think through these things. This
Yeah.
is something that none of us could learn in like a one-day workshop.
Oh,
I had to sit through Randy's the original ABT courses for 2 years before I was comfortable enough to start teaching it. Liz, you got like a pretty big intensive, like with the mini course, like
yeah.
iterative over and over and over again.
And even when I
Seems
came in and
funny.
first joined in, I
Yeah.
mostly was sitting and listening in the first, when I first started working with you, was midway through Emory. And other than structuralist, I spent a lot of time, I think, in those first meetings, not really saying anything, just listening. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I need to just absorb,
Yeah.
sponge.
So hopefully
Right.
we were able to provide some of that for you guys out there today, where you got to listen in on us and start soaking
Mhm.
up some of this. And I think we might want to do this again at some point. This is pretty fun.
I'm gonna need to
If
take a
any,
page out of our narrative gym people, and now I need to go rewrite this and we revisit it.
exactly. Or Liz, you said there are some other you had some other possible
Oh yeah.
projects we could ABTize as well. I think that might be fun too. Moving on to
Okay.
something else.
Oh yeah.
Also, anyone, if you want to put just submit one of your ABTs to us, if this is something that you're interested in seeing done live in front of an audience in all of
Mm,
YouTube, feel free to send us an ABT. There's always the company address, randyolsonproductions@gmail.com, or feel free to comment down in the YouTube video or anything like that with the full ABT that you'd like us to dissect. And
Mhm.
we might get around to dissecting it one day.
yeah.
You never
And it
know.
could just be a for fun
That's all.
ABT. As far as this is, it's been years since I wrote this, and so this is for fun for me. This is,
Yeah.
an exercise and just, hey, how can I take what we've learned and do better?
Exactly. And you don't
So,
actually have to be here like Liz was for us to dissect your ABT, especially if you're not comfortable with that. We'll be happy to just take your ABT and just the three of us will work over it, get it as far as we can. Cool.
Let us know if you have any questions, and otherwise, we'll see you next time.
See you next time, everyone. Have a good one.
bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.